President Zelensky's last words, those last two words, what were they? Louder. Slava Ukraini. Glory to Ukraine. And what's the response? Geroyam Slava. Glory to the heroes. This was not an easy video to arrange. It took many months of very quiet conversation. We didn't know, in fact, until this morning whether or not we would actually receive it. The fact that President Zelensky, in the middle of a war, took the time between urgent phone calls with President Biden and Chancellor Scholz and President Macron and Secretary General Guterres and so many others, urging weapons, urging pressure on Russia, that he took the time to prepare this video for us, AJC, says a lot. He is, after all, if you will, the Winston Churchill of our era. And imagine for just a moment Winston Churchill taking the time in the 1940s to record a film for the American Jewish Committee Global Forum. That's the importance he attaches to us, to you, to this organization. And we dare not let him down. President Putin explained this war as an attempt to denazify Ukraine. Think about that for a moment. Volodymyr Zelensky had a grandfather and three brothers of the grandfather. Three of them were killed in Babi Yar. Only his grandfather survived. He is a democratically elected president of Ukraine who is also proudly Jewish. What exactly needs to be denazified about Ukraine? There is a need for denazification today, ladies and gentlemen. It's in Moscow, not in Kiev. It was Moscow that engaged in what? A blitzkrieg? It was Moscow that illegally, brazenly, recklessly, barbarically invaded a sovereign country. It was Moscow that violated solemn agreements, including the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, which guaranteed Ukrainian sovereignty and territorial integrity in exchange for relinquishing the world's third largest nuclear arsenal. It was Moscow that unleashed barbaric war crimes against innocent civilians, including the children the president spoke about. And it was Moscow that has driven millions of people away from Ukraine, including those that we have seen in Poland, not to mention the other frontline states. It's Moscow that needs denazification. And it's up to us. And why is it up to us? Not only because we were the first Jewish organization going back to 1991, the only Jewish organization to stand with Ukraine in the rebirth of its independence. Not only because in 2014, we were the only Jewish organization in the world to call on President Obama to provide weapons to Ukraine at a time when the White House was unwilling to do so, but also because today, the stakes for the future of our world hang in the balance in the outcome of this conflict. let's not minimize this, but let's also be aware that with each passing day, there is likely to be greater national and global fatigue as the war grinds on and attention is diverted elsewhere. And people say, well, why doesn't Ukraine already concede or negotiate or acknowledge that its territory has been stolen? That's happening before our eyes. We're already hearing some well-known international figures essentially asking Ukraine to acknowledge a changed status quo and learn to live with it. And if Ukraine does, what's next? More of Ukraine? Moldova? Taiwan? What's next? Because it isn't over. And one of the key links that we have had to Ukraine from 1991 forward has been the rebirth of its remarkable Jewish community. And I'm particularly thrilled today that with us here in this auditorium is the chair of the Jewish Confederation of Ukraine, the umbrella body for the 300,000 Ukrainian Jews, Mr. Boris Loshkin. And we have other members of the Jewish community of Ukraine with us. And we have that honorary member of the Jewish community as well, Sam Klieger, who in 2014, at our request, left his family behind in New York, moved to Kiev to represent us during the Maidan Revolution, who spent 5 months there as the only such representative of any NGO in the world. Sam, thank you. So there's no better way to conclude than for all of us, if I could ask you to stand. And together, what are we going to say? Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Героям слава! Героям слава! To Ukraine's victory.